Hello. So in this video I'm going to explain everything that's linked to the 7th house. In the second section of this video I'm going to be comparing the 7th house with the other houses. There's always an interesting exercise and we'll try to find other possible meanings of the 7th house. So let's begin. So the most important aspect or life's aspect linked to the 7th house is marriage. The ruler of the 7th house is your partner. The quality of your married life can also be seen by the planet's position there, and the time of marriage can also be determined by the 7th house. So if you have planets like Rahu, Ketu or Saturn in the 7th house, even Mars, then there's every chance of you getting married late in life. So the 7th house is directly linked to marriage mainly. And again, the ruler of this house is your life partner. That's just the beginning. You must also take into account the Navamsha chart, the ruler of the 7th there, and the Dharakarak to determine who your partner is going to be. Apart from marriage, the potential to run a business can also be seen from the 7th house and the type of business you can be in. Are you going to be involved in the food business, or are you going to be involved in the teaching sector, or you're going to be involved in the tech sector, or in the aerospace industry? What kind of a business are you going to run? That can also be determined by the planets placed in the 7th house and the ruler of the 7th house. So any kind of relationship you are having with anyone outside your family can also be seen from the 7th house. So if you're signing a rental lease to signing a contract, a job contract, all of that is also seen from the 7th house. So any relationship, any contract, any partnership, any agreement you're part of is seen from the 7th house. So our relationship with other people is seen from the 7th house. And that also makes sense. The first house is all about you. Naturally, the 7th house is the house opposite to our own self, and that is all the people we get to meet as we, live life. Sometimes we need to rent an apartment, or you are subscribing to a food delivery service, a monthly service, premium service, or we're having a contract with Amazon Prime, etc. All of those relationships, all of those contracts you are party to, even if they are not as significant, are all your Netflix subscription, for example, are all seen from the 7th house. The 7th house, the planet's position there, and the ruler of the house will also determine your ability to deal with people. Are you going to be someone who's highly competitive, which might be necessary for you if you are building your future in the field of law? You have to be competitive and assertive and make a compelling argument that would be seen if Mars is there in the 7th house. It would also have an impact on your personal life, and that is why when Mars is in the 7th house, it is said that you must marry late, so that this Martian energy, you know how to handle it. We are more mature in our 30s than we are in our 20s. We get into less and less arguments as we grow older, and that's the idea behind suggesting that a person having Mars in the 7th should marry late. So our ability or our managerial skills are also seen from the 7th house. How well you manage a team, how well you manage relations with people, and the position of power, the authority you're going to exercise in the society. It's a lot to do with its relationship with the 10th house. Our position in the society and reputation is seen from the 10th house. So from the 10th house, the 7th house is the 10th house from the 10th house. So what I'm trying to say here, the 7th house is also directly linked to you occupying a position of authority and being well known in the society. So fame, reputation, your stature, how much authority you're going to exercise, seen from the 7th house. Now, parts of the human body linked to the 7th house are as follows. Navel area, hips and loins are seen from this house, and that concludes my initial reading on the 7th house. And now we are going to determine what other possible meanings can be attached to this house by looking at the 7th house in relation to other houses. So let's begin. So now if we look at the 7th house from the 8th house, the 7th house would be the 12th house from the 8th house. If you place the 8th house in the 1st house, the 7th house would naturally fall in the 12th house. I'm hoping you're able to follow that logic. Now the 8th house has a lot to do with going through difficult circumstances, life-altering circumstances. So if you look at the 12th from the 8th, we are looking at your ability to overcome those life-altering events through public relations. Alternatively, it can also be the kind of support you're going to get when you're going through a difficult time from people at large. Public opinion is very important, isn't it? For politicians, for example, it's all about public opinion. If you are going through a setback at your work, what you want to do is to get people on board with you. They should be on your side. If a war breaks out in any country, the country tries to explain to other countries why this is happening and why they are doing the right thing. So public support during difficult times can be determined from the 7th house, and this is a very important aspect linked to this house. The 8th house is also directly linked to money that belongs to other people. The 7th house, therefore, can lead to your relations with foreigners linked to money. And the 8th house is directly linked to the field of research. Again, research in collaboration with foreigners. That can also be determined from the 7th house. Now, if you look at the 9th house and we look at the 7th house from the 9th house, the 7th house would be the 11th house from the 9th house. So naturally, immediately, I see gains that a person might have through relations with people who one learns from. For example, your teachers. Your teacher has recommended you for a PhD. You, with that recommendation, apply and you build your career. So the quality of the relationship with your teachers and the potential of that relationship to help you in your public life can also be seen from the 7th house. The 9th house is also a lot about cultural beliefs, religion and law. So how you can utilize your understanding of society and monetize it. What I'm trying to say here is the principles on which you're going to run a business can also be seen from the 7th house. How honestly, for example, are you going to run your business can be seen from the 7th house. Because the wisdom to do the right thing comes from the 9th house. So on that principle, if you run a business and monetize it based on that principle or not compromising on that principle can also be seen from the 7th house. So unfair business practices can be linked to the 7th house if you have planets there which can cause that. Alternatively, if the position of the 7th house is quite strong, you're likely to stand by your principles and run a business and deal with people accordingly. The 9th house is also directly linked to higher education, like a master's program. So the 7th house would determine your ability to monetize your educational backgrounds. If you've done your master's, for example, in finance, are you going to be able to get a job in a multinational firm and earn a handsome salary? Can be determined by the 7th house. And lastly, the 9th house, as I had mentioned, is a lot to do with culture and religion. And the 7th house is a lot to do with public dealings. This position can also determine your ability to spread the message you believe in or share your knowledge with people. So if you are an expert in the housing sector, you've done your master's in marketing and you've worked in the real estate sector for many years, your ability to spread your knowledge can be seen from the 7th house. So if you're an influencer and you have a YouTube channel, your ability to spread your learnings with people foreign to you can be seen from the 7th house. The 9th house is also directly linked to law. Therefore, you can also be dealing with people linked to law, and therefore the 7th house is directly linked to lawyers, because you are now monetizing the legal framework. So lawyers are directly seen from the 7th house. Now, I have earlier mentioned that the 7th house is going to be the 10th from the 10th house. So naturally, your position of power, authority, stature, reputation, fame is also seen from the 7th house. And your adaptability to deal with people from different backgrounds can also be seen from the 7th house. Because the 10th house is about public life, and the 7th house is a lot to do with public dealings. And so the 10th from the 10th is an indication of your ability to build your public life through public dealings, and I believe it's a lot to do with your adaptability too. And in addition to this, your managerial and administrative skills can also be seen from the 7th house. Now if you look at the 11th house, the 7th house is going to be the 9th house from it. And so your ability to learn through public dealings is seen from the 7th house. So earlier I had mentioned your ability to manage people, but also what you learn from those public dealings, learn from running a business, can be seen from the 7th house. Because now the focus is on the 11th house. And the 11th house is about fulfilling your aspirations on a material plane. But the 7th house is the 9th house. But in the process of fulfilling that aspiration through public dealings, you're also getting to learn a lot. Like people tell stories of how they went to Japan for work and they got to learn a lot about their culture and how they go about living their lives. Similarly, you might run a business in a foreign country and you might get to learn a lot by how the locals feel about your business and how you can win their trust. So the learnings you draw through public relations in the process of advancing your career is seen from the 7th house. I would also associate the 7th house to your openness to receiving feedback whilst dealing with people, and your willingness, and more importantly, your self-belief to venture out. Are you convinced about your own business plans? Do you have conviction in your plans? Can be seen from the 7th house. Now if you look at the 12th house, the 7th house is going to be the 8th house. So immediately we see business relations with people who are foreign to us, which have transformative outcomes. That you tie up with a foreign company or a foreign individual and your business has seen success or perhaps a failure depending on the condition of the 7th house. Business cycles can also be seen from this house, the 7th one. Ups and downs, more downs actually, and life-altering events are seen both from the 12th and the 8th house. So, since the 7th house is the 8th house from the 12th house, business cycles and your ability to overcome those business cycles can also be seen from the 7th house. It's a lot to do with how you manage public outrage to certain comments you might have made as a politician, for example, or as a manager if the team you're managing is going against you, and how you manage that criticism. How do you manage and maneuver yourself through that difficult time can be seen from the 7th house. And the capacity also to deal with losses, whether they are financial or a loss of a partner, can also be seen from the 7th house. Now from the 2nd house, the 7th house would be the 6th house. So immediately I see financial dealings with one's family is also seen from this house, and the issues that can arise due to those dealings. So if you are collaborating with your parents, for example, to run a business, are you going to have any dispute with your parents in particular? That can be seen from the 7th house. And if they are difficult planets, for example, in the 7th house, and you are going through the dasha of that planet, issues of that kind can arise in your family. Food-related health issues can also be seen from the 7th house. The 2nd house has a lot to do with food. The choice of food and the amount of food we like consuming is seen from the 2nd house. And your ability to manage financial debt can also be seen from the 7th house. How efficiently you're able to build a trusting relation with your lenders. So if as a business you've taken a loan and you're running your business, how truthfully are you paying back that money, and how trustworthily you are building that relationship with your lender, and if there's a downturn in your business, how you are going to maneuver yourself out of that financial debt through those public dealings, through that relationship you've built with your lender, can also be seen from the 7th house. Now from the 3rd house, the 7th house will be the 5th house. So immediately I see you taking an idea and converting it into business, can be seen from the 7th house. Ideas occur to us in our everyday life from the 3rd house, and I have shared that in the video posted on the 3rd house. How you convert that into a business can be seen from the 7th house. So the 5th from the 3rd is the house of business, and this 5th house relationship is an indication that you convert an idea into something bigger, like a business plan, and then execute that in the 7th house. Similarly, the 3rd house is the house of your ability to convey a message, your communication skills. So the 5th from the 3rd is an indication of your public speaking ability. So motivators and influencers, once again, are seen from the 7th house. The 3rd house is also to do with sales and marketing. So your ability to mass market your product or service or your own self can also be seen from the 7th house. The 3rd house is also a lot to do with your siblings and neighbors. So fun activities you are having with your neighbors and siblings in particular, like going for a movie over the weekend with your neighbors or friends, can also be seen from the 7th house. And lastly, the 7th house is a lot to do with business acumen. The 3rd house is the house of intellect. And so the 7th house, which has to do with business relations, you manage those relations intelligently, whether those relations exist between your customers, you and your customers, or you and your team members, you and your suppliers. The ability to manage those relations intelligently can also be seen from the 7th house. The 7th house is going to be the 4th house from the 4th house. So immediately I see peace in your personal life is seen from the 7th house. If you're spending time with your partner or simply spending time in your home, is there peace and quiet in your life? They can also be determined by the position of planets in the 7th and the ruler of that house. The 7th house would also be linked to your emotional response to a union. Do you feel a sense of duty towards marriage? Are you emotionally attached or over-attached to your partner can also be seen from the 7th house. How emotionally involved are you going to be with marriage or business partnerships are also seen from this house. How emotionally disturbed are you going to be if your relationships of any kind don't go your way? The 4th house is a lot to do with our cultural influence. Wherever we are born, the culture we grew up in is seen from the 4th house. So the 4th from the 4th is the 7th house. So if, for example, you were born in Bangalore in India, the culture you grew up in is that of Bangalore. But the larger cultural influence of the entire region, that entire state, that's the 7th house. So larger cultural influence or the nation's influence on your character can also be seen from the 7th house, or the nation's influence on your ability to manage relations with others can be seen from the 7th house. So not in a private setting, not how you deal with your family, but how you deal with people at large due to your culture is seen from the 7th house. And your ability to build an emotional bond with the ones you're dealing with. This is very important if you want to be a political figure. As a political figure, you need to understand the pulse of people you're planning to lead, as a term commonly used, that this politician understands the emotional pulse of the nation, and that ability can be seen from the 7th house. The 7th house is going to be the 3rd house from the 5th house. So with this combination, I see you converting your passion, things you love doing in your free time, into some sort of a business. The 5th house is also to do with love affairs. So similarly, in your personal life, you take your love affair to the logical conclusion, which is marriage. So from the 5th house, you make a bit of effort, you convert your hobby into a business, an interest or passion into a business, and similarly, you convert your relationship into marriage, and that's the relationship the 5th and the 7th house share. And your ability to build a network with people who are like-minded can also be seen from the 7th house. From the 6th house, the 7th house is going to be the 2nd house. So the good fortune you're likely to have to run into people who might help you sort out certain difficulty in your life, like a health issue or a legal issue, is seen from the 7th house. So the good fortune of running into the right kind of people who help you deal with 6th house related issues is seen from the 7th house. So if you are running the dasha of the ruler of the 7th house and the ruler is favorably placed, it's likely you might run into an individual who might help you with other aspects of your life, like a health issue. The confidence that you're going to have, that you'll have the support of people to deal with those issues, can also be seen from the 7th house. So if you are going through some financial trouble, but you are feeling confident that no, your partner is going to be with you, you're confident that your business partner would also be on your side, that confidence, that assurity can also be seen from the 7th house. Your faith in your partners essentially can also be determined by the 7th house. So this is all that I had to say on the 7th house, and I'm hoping you were able to understand the different aspects that I have tried to share. If you have any questions about them, you can post a comment and I'll try to reply as soon as possible. And if you'd like to stay in touch, please subscribe to this channel. This is it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.